Okay, let's look at the weather. Run predict wind, go to departure planning, click on download. We're thinking about pushing off today at 11 a.m. and it's going to space additional departures by 24 hours. Download. Alright, let's look at the table first. Predict wind thinks that if we leave today, May 7th at 11 a.m., then we'll get there in 1.88 days. If we leave today, we'll get there faster than we will get there on the other 3 days. More motoring time on the other 3 days, less wind on the other 3 days, more upwind sailing on the other 3 days. Looking like today is the day to go with no upwind sailing. Everything else is looking pretty much the same. Let's do a playthrough of the different days. Here's day 1, looking good. Broad reach, starboard tack, a little windy there, and then jibing there, and then the rest of the way is pretty easy. Looking at day 2, not as much wind, broad reach, losing the wind, there's no wind. No, a lot of motoring on that trip. Let's look at day 3. Broad reach, looks good, and then less wind and motoring. I really want to avoid motoring because I don't want to spend the money on the fuel. Let's look at day 4. Way too much, all motoring. So that makes it pretty clear to me that day 1, which is today, is the day to go. Let's look at a weather routing plan. Weather routing is much more detailed than departure planning. So this is what's going to happen with the wind speed throughout our voyage. It's going to start out at about 10 knots and increase to as high as 24 knots early in the morning on the 8th. So tomorrow morning it'll be at its windiest. It'll slowly get windier and windier and windier throughout the night, and then will gradually decrease. That's great. I like leaving port and arriving in port in calm conditions. True wind direction, a little bit of variation between 135 and 225. Definitely mostly a downwind sail. It'll be raining between 8 o'clock tonight and 4 p.m. on the 8th, so unfortunately we're going to have a bit of rain. Temperature will be slowly decreasing throughout the voyage, leaving in 12 degrees centigrade, and we are arriving in 8 degrees centigrade. Wave height will be nothing when we are leaving and slowly getting higher and higher, peaking at about noon tomorrow at 2.5 meters, and then it will be decreasing from there. The next thing I'll look at is the summary. Percentage upwind 0, all models, so there is absolutely no possibility that we're going to be upwind at all. We'll be in a bit of wind, 20 to 30 knots for up to 20% of the time, but mostly 8 to 20 knots for roughly 80% of the time. All the models predict between 31 and 34% of the time in waves of 2 to 3 meters. Let's look at the animation. Pushing off this morning in light conditions, a broad reach, starboard tack, 20, 25, windy. We're gonna have to jibe in the windiest of the conditions. Maybe 25 knots and have to jibe. No fun. But then it gets calm and then we're in. And so it looks like sailing conditions throughout the whole voyage. I don't like that we get up to 25 knots here. Let's look at the gust report. At that point, wind speed's 23 knots and we're gusting to 32 knots, so I don't want to jibe in 32 knots of wind, but let's look at the rain situation. And boom, we got rain, gusting to 32 knots and rain, and we jibe. Well, I think we're a go for going. All right, let's get out of here. Oh, breakfast is up. At the midpoint, it's going to be 25 knots, gusting to 32 knots, and we're going to jibe in the rain. Aside from that, the report looks pretty good. No, I don't think we should go tomorrow because we don't have the wind. So it looks like 15 knots on a beam reach coming out of here. It sounds like it might be more than that, but running on the center fuel tank. Excess fuel is going back to the center fuel tank. This is in the right position. Oil is at the right level and is fairly clean. Yep, got enough antifreeze and water. Everything looks good to go. Can you engage all the battery banks? Yep. There you go. All right, thanks. CPT autopilot is warming up. Nav that's on. Our wind speed and direction instrument only shows direction and doesn't give us speed, but I can tell that this is solid 15 knots or more maybe. It feels windy. Oh, can you turn on the windlass? How you feeling?
I was trying to think of a song, but nothing is coming to me. I don't even know if I'm going to need this. Maybe. Once we get out there, it'll be cold.
Right. You going to eat the rest of your peanut butter bagel?
I don't think so.
Really? You don't want it?
I don't think it's really...
Can I have it?
I don't usually do peanut butter bagels.
Well, it's what you ordered.
I know. I was thinking of our options, and I just...
So,
I ate half of it.
you may be wondering, I am the morning cook. I am the breakfast guy. Pretty much across the board, this guy makes breakfast. And
this guy talks about himself in the third person.
And Mo is the master of chicken salad for dinner.
I love chicken salad.
You are the chicken salad master.
Cilantro lime dressing.
Come on, let's go. Ready? This is the coolest thing ever. It sucks onto the solar panel, and then I'll put my iPhone there for navigation software and also for a little bit of filming from up here. Alright, so we're gonna go out there. I go through the mussel farm and then out into the Minch. Oh, another thing I forgot to do, just waiting till the last minute, was just to put these panels down. I'll take another look in the engine room before we push off. Okay, windlass. I just want to get the snubber off for now. We're not going to use the main at all. It's all downwind sailing, so it'll be easier on the autopilot without the main up. And I don't think we'll have any problem maintaining speed with this kind of wind. God, if it's this windy now, and the report is for it to just get windier and windier and windier, I think we're in for a hell of a windy ride. In here we've got our chimney for our coal stove, a trip line with a buoy on it for our anchor. We've got the hose for washing down the ground tackle. So you're going to motor towards the anchor, right? Yeah. All right. Can you go 5 degrees to port? Once I bring in so much chain, it's going to castle in the chain locker, which is a real pain in the butt. When that happens, I'm going to run down below and knock the chain down with a boat pole, and then come back up here and raise the rest of it. Mo's going to be at the helm the whole time, so we don't go off into the rocks. 10 degrees to port! See where I'm pointing? Oh, so it just castled. All right, the chain castled. I'm gonna go knock it down. This is a pain in the ass. I would like to fix this so that this doesn't happen. Not exactly sure what kind of modification I'd have to make, but there's a chain, and now I've knocked it down so we can lower more. We're free! And it castled again, but we are free. Yeah, we're free. I mean, watch us on the chart plotter. What a pain in the ass. Helps you have a third crew down here knocking down the chain the whole time while you're bringing it up. So you don't have to go up and down, up and down. What's the matter? There you go. All right, get us out of here. I need something better to do this with than a boat pole. You are taking us out of here. Oh. So now that that's done, I gotta put everything back in the sail locker. See our two bikes? This is gonna be our season of riding bikes. These are our big folding chairs, which I love. This is our blow-up bathtub, wind scoop, fishing pole, and our hot water shower, and our water bag. That's all I need. All right, forgot this. Our spare companionway hatchboard for emergencies. We lose the other one. I installed a valve that closes off the drain for the forward head sink, because when we get in rough seas, if that drain's open, water just comes up like a geyser in here. So custom modification by Drake. What else do I gotta do? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put the boards down below.
Oh yeah, I'll do that now. gonna put out the staysail. This is the jib sheet furling line, and this is the staysail furling line. And these cleats are too small. There have been times when waves have come on deck and dislodged the lines from the cleats, and that's a recipe for disaster. So it's on the list to make these cleats bigger. Wind is on the beam. What's our speed? 6. This is goodbye to Loch Larbos. We've got a church right there and a little slipway kind of docking arrangement right at the base of it. And then some houses very spread out. And no stores of any kind. So if you're gonna live out here, you gotta have a car so you can get anywhere, I guess. I'm sure the bus goes through, but it's a really, really quiet, peaceful town with no light pollution at night, which is wonderful, and super quiet. Nothing but little sheep running around. So as soon as we clear these mountains on the port side, land on the port. Oh, we're on the nose. Yeah. I'll bring in the staysail. Spare winch handle. We have 2 winch handles in the cockpit and 1 winch handle on the mast for reefing. I'm gonna go find out if we've got reefs in the main. I forgot to check that before we left. Yeah, the first reef is in and the second reef is in. So if I go to raise the main, the second reef is already in. And then if we need more sail, we can easily go to first reef before we go to the full main. And that's how I want it. I don't think we'll use the main at all for this entire voyage because it's all downwind. How you doing? Good. Alright. We're gonna put out some jib. Not all of it because it's too windy, but we'll put out some and soon we'll turn off the engine. I always flake this out so it doesn't snag when we deploy it. Alright, putting out some jib. Did any jib go out? No jib went out. I don't know. Is furling line snagged on something? No. I don't know. Hold on. No, don't do anything. Why is the jib not going out? Maybe this is why. Everything's good.
was. The starboard jib sheet was caught on a cleat, and I guess that put enough tension on it so it wouldn't unfurl. I'm gonna put the autopilot on. All right, let's put it all out. We're making 5.4 knots, and we just got the jib out. Again, I don't know what the actual wind speed is, but what would you say, 15? Felt windier in there. Maybe
it was getting funneled.
Maybe we were getting some fall wind. How you feeling?
Good.
Good. Good, good, good.
I like leaving a little later.
Don't tell Kevin.
I already have. Mr. 4:30 in the morning.
So I see the land right there. We just want to keep that to our port so I can bear off to get more of an angle closer to it. And away we go. Goodbye, Western Isles of Scotland. We love you. We'll miss you dearly. So we're on a broad reach. Thinking we'd be doing a little bit better if I had the main up. I'm not sure, but I think I may be able to do it without heading into the wind. I'm gonna give it a shot. First I'll raise the top and lift and take out the second reef. Hey Mo, can you make sure the main sheet's got a little bit of slack in it, but not a whole lot? All right, the boom's gonna come out of the gallows. Watch your head. Next, I'll undo the stack pack lines on the port side so the sail won't catch them, so the sail will flop out. It'd be nice if I unzipped it as well. Okay. So I'm raising the main on a beam reach. There is a single reef in the clew, but not in the forward part, and I'll need to put the forward part in. I don't want to go to the full main. Unless I do. Do I? Probably not. All right, main's going up, Mo. Put some slack in the main sheet. That's good. So we're going to take out the first reef. Second reef's already out. This isn't too hard to do. Full main without changing our tack. I wonder if that's going to help us at all. Well, we tried. 2.3, eh?
2.3. I think we're averaging around 2.8 now.
I don't see any wind out there. Okay, let's go see what this fish pie is about. It is no longer frozen. I'm gonna cook it in the Omnia because it's so small. This looks amazing. So instead of baking it in the big oven, which uses a ton of propane, we're just gonna bake it in the Omnia, and it'll use like, I don't know, a quarter of the amount of fuel or less probably. The timer for 45 minutes.
Just came around the head.
That's it. We're now under sail. I think we'll stay above 5. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. 5.3, 4.7, 5.1, 5.2, 4.9, 5.4, so around 5. I'm going to switch to one battery bank. Switch to the house bank, and we have 2 house banks, salon and dinette, and I will switch to the salon one, and the engine one is reserved. We are -6, -7. That's even with, I'm gonna turn off the inverter. We don't need the inverter, right?
Isn't that how we charge the phones and stuff?
Yeah, that's true. But there are things connected to the inverter that I can turn off. Wow, -7.7. I think the wind generator would be making more than this. Barely getting anything. We're only getting 4 amps from sun and 2 amps from wind. Drawing 6 amps. That's radar, chart plotter. Inverter is on because we use it for charging everything, iPads, iPhones, headlamps, etc. We are on our way. 5 knots, going north. Under sail. Yay! We're just about to go out of cell phone range, we think. So I'm gonna download the latest weather report. That's very strange. The weather forecast says that we should be having about 4 knots right now, which we're not. What is up with the weather? ECMWF says we should have 10 knots. GFS says we should have 9 knots at the current time, which is 6:48, and we definitely have more than that, I think. Yeah. So
They always have more wind than they say offshore.
so
Always.
we'll see how it goes. Yeah. It's just gonna get windier from what it is now. It's just gonna get windier. And then
Does it say what it goes up to?
rain will start at about 10.
Maybe I'll undo that before the rain starts so you don't have to do it in the dark.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see we have a reefing clue hole right there and another one right there. I'm going to bring the first one down, first reef, and then also there's a hole right there that gets secured. Bring the first one down, bring the second one down, and then bring the whole thing down. When we crank on this, it'll bring the first reef line down. Slack on the main halyard. Sail starts coming down. It'll take a while, but we'll get there. Just take our time. This is why exercise is important, because you got to do this. I'll take this line, which is attached here to this eye, and put it through this eye, the first reef point. Bring it back down. That brings that down. Secure it here. And then get the clue tight to the boom. And that's first reef. First reef's in. Now we'll do second reef. On the other side of the boom, we've got second reef right here. Same thing. Take the slack out by hand. Put it on the winch. Lock the winch handle in. Slack the main halyard, bring it down a little bit. And start cranking. What's our speed? So our speed's come down to 4.5, but the wind's gonna pick up and it's gonna rain. You know, maybe I'll leave the double reef up, leave the main up, double reefed. Bring the main down, some more. Cranking the clue. You've really got to know how to reef this like the back of your hand. Like, conditions are calm right now, but if the wind, you know, all of a sudden came up to 30 from out of nowhere unexpectedly, and you got to put a reef in fast, you got to know exactly where everything is. You got to basically know it so well that you could put the reef in blindfolded. Because if it's windy as all heck and you get confused and you don't know what you're doing, you do something wrong, and that really messes everything up, then you're in trouble. How's that doing? Oh, we're getting there. Ma, why don't you bring the boom all the way in? Sure helps having a second person. Feels like the wind is dying. A little calm before it gets crazy, maybe. Where's that reef point? There it is. Alright. I can come down a little more. You need strong arms to do this, man. Oh, what's that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll bring up the main a little bit. You know what? I think I'll leave a double reef in the main and not take it down. I'll just sheet it in. Should be fine. Just in case we gotta heave to. people say that they never heave to, that they just run with it, but you know, what if by running with it you're going in the wrong direction? By heaving to, you in that case would still probably drift in the wrong direction, not necessarily, but you slow the movement down very much, so maybe not getting as far away from your destination as you would otherwise. Oh, getting a little bouncy, getting a little queasy, getting a little tired. We're gonna start using the watch commander and doing little cat nap rests of 10 minutes at a time. Good. What's that saying? Red sky at night, a sailor's delight. Well, it's kind of pink. Time to put on the navigation lights. Good morning. It's Monday the 8th, and here's the report. We ended up running the engine throughout the night, a total of 12 hours, and that's because I wasn't able to make 5 knots, even though we were downwind on a broad reach with the full jib out and a single reef in the main. Just couldn't get the boat speed up. There was 4 knots and I wanted to go 5, so I ran the engine for that 1 extra knot or more. And a couple hours ago the winds did pick up and I started the engine. The wind speed indicator here doesn't work. It shows me direction, but it doesn't show me speed. We're just about dead downwind, which ain't great because I don't have a pole. I'm going to adjust the autopilot, turn a little bit more to port. 10 degrees to port on the CPT autopilot. CPT autopilot is a champion. I will do a video about this autopilot. I think it's just fantastic. But anyhow, I think having the single reef in the main all night long wasn't a problem, but I think it may be becoming a little bit more of an issue now because the wind is picking up, and that I think is making it a little bit harder for the autopilot to steer. And I see we've got a big problem with the head sail. Something's happened. The tack is disconnected. I'm not sure why, so I'm going to go out on deck and figure out what's going on. Mo's doing okay. She's been sleeping, and she did do a watch for a few hours yesterday, which was great. She's still sort of acclimating to being at sea. I've been doing the 10-minute cat nap thing here with the watch commander, or not the watch commander, with the Aqua Alarm Last Watch 2 alarm. I got a video about that if you don't know what that is. Yeah, so I'm going out on deck. Do I want to take it down, or do I just want to put the preventer on it? Let me think about it. Yeah, that looks bad. under tension. I actually got a little piece of string right here. I'll just use that. Okay. Jack line's not long enough to reach here. Weird. That's not the best way to do this. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Jury rig at sea. I gotta adjust course. Starting to come out there. That's not good. That's probably not good enough, actually. Come on, you. Shit! I gotta get back to the cockpit and hit the button on the watch on the watch alarm. How can we do this tighter? Fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna take it down. All right. Oh, let me hit the watch, Commander. I don't know how long it's been. There we go. All right. So I've got this line which I use as a preventer. It's got a snap shackle on it, and I'm going to put snap shackle on the bail on the end of the boom, the stainless U-shaped thing that the main sheet is attached to, and then I'll tension it down onto a cleat. That way the main won't be banging side to side and causing a racket. There. then I can tighten it up on the main sheet if I needed to. But now it's like solid, not moving, not rattling. That's nicer. Gray day. Man, this enclosure makes all the difference when it's cold. Cold and windy. Or raining. You're sheltered from it all. For the most part. Alright. Now that we have tacked, I am going to switch the chart plotter to showing me what's going on this side. Always on the leeward side. More comfortable. Got my pillows. Got my blanket. That US flag is gonna get tattered. I really should wind it up so it doesn't get tattered when we're at sea. I'm a little queasy, but not too bad. Nothing a runny egg yolk sandwich won't fix. So a lot of the time I'm just sitting here and looking at the radar on the right side and the chart plotter on the left side, looking at my iPad or my iPhone and hitting the red button on the alarm. And that's kind of how we roll. Maybe I'll listen to an audiobook now. Or a podcast. See what we got. This is Drake. Check in later.